What's going on, everyone? So the San Antonio Spurs are done with their preseason and look forward to hopefully a better season. Last year they won 22 games. They're looking to at least double that. Obviously, there's not these expectations of winning a championship this year or anything like that, but it would be nice to see them even just make the play-in. If Victor Wembanyama can kind of take some real strides. Last season, I thought there was an argument of him being a top 15 player in the league. Can he kind of move into that top 10? Chris Paul, we obviously know kind of what Chris Paul has done as far as win percentage and stuff like that go over his career, even in his later years. The impact that he has bringing in a guy like Harrison Barnes. I mean, those two vets are going to be so impactful, not only on the basketball court, but off of the basketball court. What Chris Paul and his track record with developing guards in particular, one that really stands out obviously is SGA, but more so Chris Paul's ability to make things easy for Victor Wembanyama. Right? I mean, Chris Paul's probably getting 5 to 8 assists a game just by operating with Wemby. And Wemby's going to get an extra 10 to 16 points a game just by operating with Chris Paul, running the pick and roll, him just being a lob, right? Like pick and pop action, all of it. And that's not counting like Victor's natural progression. And then Harrison Barnes is a guy that he can come in and be a legit two-way guy on this roster. But also he's a guy that understands his role, plays his role, and he's not going to take away from Victor and the other guys. Right? Like he doesn't need 20 shots a game or anything like that, right? He's a guy that, hey, you need me to drop 6, you need me to drop 20, whatever you need me to do, I will do it. So he's going to allow Victor to be Victor. He's going to allow, Chris Paul to operate and do his thing. He's going to allow, Devin Vassell when he's healthy, Stephon Castle, all these guys. And then also be a mentor and a leader out there on the basketball court and behind the scenes in like the locker room and stuff like that for the Spurs team. Really excited to see how their impact is. But Victor Wembanyama is who I really want to kind of focus on more in this video, and his potential and kind of what I think he can be this year. Obviously, the easy one is Defensive Player of the Year. I, without a doubt, think Wemby as a Defensive Player of the Year is all but locked in. As long as he plays 65 games, he's going to be Defensive Player of the Year. He should have been Defensive Player of the Year last year. I don't care if he's a rookie. I don't care what. It's Defensive Player of the Year award. Player of the Year award. It's not, who's the defensive anchor on the best defensive team. If it's a team accolade, then name it the team. Defensive Team of the Year. Right? Not Defensive Player of the Year. Wemby was the best defensive player in the league last year. Give it to him. But Wemby's going to win plenty of them. I mean, Wemby even said himself, let him enjoy it this year because the rest are mine, which I love that attitude. I love that stride. I love that. Just him. And his work ethic, his motivation, right? He's even kind of called out stars, right? There's the stars that work hard. There's players that work hard. And there's a lot of people that I looked up to and learned that they don't work hard. They're fine being, where they're at. And Wemby's a guy that truly, you can tell, he truly wants to be great. Like, he truly wants to be the greatest player ever, if he can be. And look, he has the tools to do so. It's going to be quite the journey. It's going to be quite an amazing career for this young man. But again, like last season, you look at him, arguably top 15 in the league, in my opinion, best defensive player. Gave you, 21, 22 points a game. Like, this is a guy that I think could move potentially into the top 10. I think Chris Paul is going to make things incredibly easy for Wemby. Again, I mentioned it earlier with the pick and pop actions, pick and rolls, him just being a lob threat, but also more so just getting Wemby to see the court differently and getting him established in position. Like even last year, there were a lot of times where Wemby would be wide open, or he would have established position, or he'd have the mismatch. And because Spurs really didn't have a true playmaker, they didn't recognize those, and they didn't maximize and take advantage in those spots. I mean, there were times where Wemby was wide open, and guys would just look by him. And it's like, he's your best player. How do you miss him? Where Chris Paul is not going to miss those. Chris Paul is going to make sure Wemby gets the basketball. Chris Paul is going to make sure Wemby is in the right positions. He's going to be encouraging him and telling him, like, hey, you need to get on the block, right? Like, he's going to open things up for Wemby in so many ways that I think with Chris Paul, I wouldn't be shocked if Wemby's a 25 to 30 point a game guy. Genuinely. I think Wemby will be the best defense player in the league, and I think he'll be anywhere from 25 to 30. I mean, again, he was only a couple points off from that last season, or from the 25 marker. He's 2 baskets away from being 25. So I think Chris Paul will be the difference. And Wemby was able to do that without a real point guard, without somebody that could really recognize the advantages of mismatches. I also think a lot of it's going to come down to Wemby's efficiency. He does like to play out on the perimeter a lot. He does like to take a lot of threes. If he can kind of boost his total, then that could go a long way, right? If he can be a lot more efficient shooting the basketball. Again, he was a rookie last year. You're going to have your highs, you're going to have your lows. It happens. I mean, even the best shooters have their highs, have their lows. It's not really a knock. It's just, something that you want to see improve from year 1 to year 2, his efficiency. Also, I just think I think that Olympic run is going to go a long way for him. I think 1, it made him hungrier. I think 2, he got a lot of experience. Right? He's going to kind of get to be in like a mid-season form-esque already. But also, I just think the natural growth and progression from year 1 to year 2. Right? Now, some people hit that sophomore wall. Right? We've seen plenty of players, even potential eventual stars, right? But I really don't think that's going to happen, particularly because, 1, he has pop. 2, I think Wemby is just different. And 3, I also think Chris Paul is going to help navigate that a lot. But Wemby's still going to have to be able to handle and carry a lot of it himself, which, again, I truly believe that he'll be able to. But, he's got to have that natural growth and those natural progressions, from year 1 to year 2. He's got a better shot selection at times. He's playing on just raw talent. Once he really starts to get a feel, once he really starts to get a grasp and understanding of the game, good luck. Right? He's even talked about it. He even said, I haven't had a game where I've put it all together. And he probably won't for a couple seasons, right? Year 4, 5, I think you're really going to start seeing that, oh, wow, Wemby's he's just that much better than everybody, right? Because he'll start getting into his grown man body a little bit. He'll have a couple seasons under his belt to where he's got a better feel, the physicality, the pacing. He'll kind of know, even guys his great, think of guys like Kevin Durant. And look at him early in his career, and it's just an incredible, just bucket getter, player, scorer, all that stuff. But watch him now; he's so much more methodical. He gets to his spots so much better. Even guys like Carmelo Anthony, right? Even guys like LeBron James over the years, Michael Jordan, right? Think of all the great players in this league. Usually by year, 5, 6, 7, they really start to understand and how to kind of go in spurts, right? How to get to their spots, how to, you hear all the time, right? What they're going to do and you can't stop it. Guys like Kobe could just, they run the same, you get to the same spot every time, right? Those guys, you see them learn over time, right? Watch, Kobe is a great example too, because, I know Spurs, Kobe's probably not one here, but it's still, he is a great example. Look at number 8 Kobe, and then look at number 24 Kobe. And the maturity, the calculated attacks, right? That's what I could see Wemby getting to, right? I'm not saying Wemby has to change the number, but I'm saying in the sense of by year, once he gets through the kid stage, once he gets through the little speed bumps and hurdles and stuff, all of a sudden things will start to unlock. He'll be able to better control and pace himself. He'll be able to better put himself in a position. Because Spurs, look, they have an exciting young team. And they have a team that should be able to compete and really make some noise this year. I don't think that they're going to be a contender. You never know. I don't want to put a ceiling on them. But could they be a playoff team? Possibly play-in team, yeah. You never know. You get the right matchups, kind of go on a little hot run. All of a sudden you look up, you're in the conference finals or something. Sure, we've seen strange. Atlanta was there a couple years ago, right? It's not that far-fetched. And again, they do have talent on this team, but this is also a real development year. This is about making strides and progress throughout the season. But there are some expectations. I also think the Spurs are going to be a tough team, right? Last year, when you saw the Spurs, you basically marked the calendar as a free win. It's the reality, right? This year, I think you're going to have to beat the Spurs. I don't think you're not just going to play them and it's a cakewalk, right? Again, they won 22 games last year. So 60 games against these other teams, were a free win, right? And like they were competitive, but this year I think you're going to have to beat them. You're not going to be able to show up and, we're down 15, we can come back and win. I think, no, this game's over. That's going to be the difference this year. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Agree with my points? Disagree with my points? You're kind of in the middle? You kind of mixed? How do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are. I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. We enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all.